Imagine you're a 19-year-old broke college student with a few hand-stitched costumes, no investors, and zero business experience. 8 years later, you've scaled to 20 cities, booked over 200 events every weekend, and built a licensing model other entrepreneurs pay to join. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what today's guest pulled off. Today, we're joined by Hayley Henning, founder of Characters.io, a nationwide party character company she grew from a local side hustle into a scalable brand without venture capital and without losing the magic that made it special. We'll talk about the zero-cost market validation trick that landed her first clients, how she built a tiered pricing system that upgrades customers instead of scaring them off, and the business model that's helping her empower other entrepreneurs to replicate her success.
You're listening to the AI-powered marketing show where we investigate and explore the intersection of artificial intelligence with modern digital marketing strategies. Each week, host Keith Bell brings you expert insights, powerful strategies, and the latest tools transforming the world of digital marketing through the power of artificial intelligence. Whether you're a small business owner, coach consultant, digital marketer, or entrepreneur, this show is your blueprint for building smarter, more scalable marketing systems. Discover how to simplify complex tech, leverage automation, and stay ahead of the curve with real-world tactics and high-impact interviews. If you're ready to attract aligned customers, grow your business with clarity, and turn AI into your marketing superpower, you're in the right place. Enjoy the episode, and if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to like, follow, and add the show to your favorites. Share it with a friend, leave a review, and say hello in the comments. Your support helps others discover the future of marketing, powered by AI.
Hey there, quick heads up before we dive into today's show. If you've been enjoying the AI-powered marketing show and you're ready to take things further, I'd love to invite you to check out our brand new Patreon page. That's where the deeper magic happens. You'll find bonus episodes, behind-the-scene insights, curated prompt packs, and practical tools to help you work smarter, not harder, with AI. You can follow us for free and stay in the loop with updates, or if you're ready to unlock the full toolkit, there are a few tier options to choose from based on where you are in your marketing journey. It's not just about content, it's about community, creativity, and building with purpose. Head on over to patreon.com/AI underscore powered underscore marketing underscore show. That's patreon.com/AI underscore powered underscore marketing underscore show. Or just click the link in the show notes and join us there for free. Please join me in welcoming Hayley Henning to the show. Hi, Hayley.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. I've been looking forward to our conversation because you have a really cool story. At least I think it's pretty cool. So let's take us back to the the very, very beginning, back when you're a broke college student, and I can totally relate to this. And you're just getting started. What sparked the idea for Characters.io, and how did those first bookings come together?
Yeah, so the idea really came kind of out of a necessity of needing a job. So I was a broke college kid. I was living in Los Angeles. I came from really humble beginnings, and I had to figure out a way to pay for school and for my apartment and for my things. And, I was really struggling in LA as like 18, 19-year-old trying to find like a consistent job because, I was fairly inexperienced in the way of the workplace. And then obviously trying to afford living in LA was pretty difficult at the time, especially being that age. And my mom came to me one day and she was like, maybe you should dress up as Cinderella and go to like kids' parties. And maybe you can make some money that way. I grew up doing musical theater pretty much my entire life. So I grew up kind of performing for people. It was sort of second nature to me at the time, although that wasn't really what I wanted to pursue. That's not why I was in LA. But I just figured, okay, well, maybe this is a really good idea just to sort of make some money while I go to school. And it ended up actually being a really fantastic idea. Initially, I thought it wasn't going to work. And I spent many months, plowing away, doing some really archaic kind of marketing tactics, back in the day, 2008, 2009. Yeah, well, I mean, it was pretty bad, back then, SEO was very different. We had like directories that you could sort of submit your information to, and you could do these sort of like black hat SEO techniques, which sort of worked temporarily to get yourself on the front
Yeah.
page of Google. It wasn't like what it is today, with marketing on social media and things like that. It's totally different, right? So a lot of like, Craigslist and directory type of submissions. And, they even had like a birthday party directory that I like signed up with, and I had to pay like $300 for. Oh, yeah, yeah. This was like one of the first things back in the day. And I built my own website like from scratch. And I think I built it maybe off of like GoDaddy at the time, because I don't even think that we didn't have all the new age like drag and drop stuff. So it's super basic, but I ended up getting, after like plugging away at it for like a couple of months, I finally got a phone call literally right at like the brink of me being like, this isn't going to work, mom. Like, I'm running out of money. What am I going to do? I get a call from this woman that was in Pacific Palisades, and she was like, hey, I need a Cinderella for my daughter's, birthday, like in a couple of weeks. Are you available? And I was like, yes, yes. And that's what really like kickstarted it. I was 19 when I got that first gig. And then once I did it, I think I made like $300 in like, an hour or like 90 minutes or something, which to me at that time, back in 2000, like 9, I was 19. I was like, oh, this is a ton of money. So yeah, then I was like, I can never go back again. And then it was just kind of more of like an organic snowball effect, because at the time I didn't have any money to market. It just kind of, was a word of mouth thing through all these, wealthy ladies. And
Now, did you only do Cinderella?
no, I played like all the different characters when I was really young. I mean, I'm 36 now, so I don't do that anymore, obviously. But when I was 19 and 20, I played all the different characters. We didn't have like, the Frozen characters at that time,
Yeah.
but it was like Hazel and Cinderella and Snow White, stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah. I was going to say, I can totally see you as Cinderella. I mean, you've got
yeah,
that.
that's one of the first ones.
Yeah. You've got that look. My first impression was, oh my gosh, she looks like Cinderella. You
Well,
know,
thank you. I take that as a compliment.
so now you mentioned, trying to find a zero cost, way to kind of validate your business before spending money on marketing. What exactly did you do, and what told you that maybe this could scale?
Yeah. So, in terms of marketing, especially at the beginning, I really had no money. I was like literally broke. My mom made my first costume, and it was my mom, pinching pennies together to get fabric to put it together herself for me. So, I mean, I literally started with absolutely nothing. And I think the way that I did that was, trying to find free ways of advertising my services. At the time, I think you have to think about what is what is popular within the time that you're in, right? Back in 2008, 2009, I mean, I was submitting myself to directories. I know I mentioned a paid directory, but that paid directory I didn't submit myself to until later, like after I had done a couple of parties and I had some money. But typically then, I was working on like organic SEO on my own, right? So like doing my own research of like how I could get my site optimized and how I could get, my services in front of people in an organic way. So that was kind of one of the first ones. Submitting myself to Craigslist, right? So there were some other directories along those lines. And then also, I mean, it was pretty old school back then, but I even had like a typical, brochure that I just, handed out to people, right? With pictures and information about my services. And so at the time, that worked out really well. And then obviously word of mouth too. So once I did the first party, it was like, okay, there's, 10, 20, 30 other parents that are at this party, and, they like my services. So they're like, hey, can I have your business card? Right. So handing out business cards and things of that nature. So, I mean, realistically, in the beginning parts of my business, there was no marketing money. I mean, I think I spent $300 a year on the directory, but that was literally the only marketing dollar that I put in for, like, I'm not joking you, probably 4 years maybe. And so, I was still booked out solid, just kind of by word of mouth and the minimal marketing that I did.
The old school grind.
Old school grind, but it worked. I'd
Yeah.
say now, if you were like starting your business now, and it would look a little bit different, but it's still similar, right? Like right now, you can get a lot of traction on just like posting reels and things. I mean, those are not my favorite things to do. I really don't like being in the spotlight, if I'm being honest. So that's not really my forte. But I think if you were building your own business right now and you didn't have a lot of money, I would definitely say, be having a presence on social media, making reels, showing people what you're doing so they can see it in real time. Other directories and things like Nextdoor, especially if you're like a service-based business, stuff along those lines. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that you can do even better than what you could do back, in the early 2000s in terms of like organic marketing.
Now, how have you seen marketing as far as online kind of evolve since you first started?
That's a tough question. I think for one, it kind of depends on the industry. I used to probably around like I'd say like between 2011 and kind of like to about 20, well, maybe like, yeah, 2012 to 2015, I started to heavily rely on Google ads, and those were great at the time. Google ads now, they're just not my favorite anymore for this particular industry. I feel like for us as an example, being a service-based business, I really try to optimize things locally. So even though we have a lot of different locations, I'm still working on optimizing our presence in a local way for each market. And I feel as though the cost for ads right now as it pertains to like Google ads, it almost doesn't make sense. It's like borderline not a great method of advertising anymore. But I don't think that's necessary for every single industry. It's just in my industry in particular, it's not the greatest anymore. I would say, marketing on social media is hit or miss, I think, dependent upon what type of industry that you're in.
Yeah, I think organic has definitely changed, especially over the last couple of years in terms of, how your organic reach it. I want
Right.
to
You throw in AI into the mix as well. And then I know a lot of people are doing searches now through like ChatGPT, just
hmm
dependent upon type of like industry. I think a lot of that is shifting. So people who are trying to optimize for, just Google, I think you now actually have to look at like the different types of, search engines, so to speak, in, the AI world.
Yeah, yeah, and the big thing now is answer engine optimization, and I think the other one is generative engine optimization, so that you can be found in these AI searches. I'm starting to see
Right.
more of that.
Yeah.
In terms of scaling a service like this, it can't just be about costumes and booking. It's got to be about systems. So, what were some of the first processes that you built that allowed you to grow without burning yourself out?
Yeah. So I'd like to say that this is like one of my specialties. I love organizing things and making things efficient and really like creating a process that I can implement and put up, teach other people how to do it as well. For me, I've utilized, first we kind of have like the first part of the customer, right? So is the booking, right? So our booking quote, giving every person a customized booking quote. And right now we're doing that with an AI agent, which is pretty amazing. I'm really proud of that. And then, kind of funneling through to the next, part of the process, which would be booking an event, right? So we try to make that super easy and streamlined for them. People can do that online. We work with a lot of, young parents, right? And they have young kids. Sometimes they don't want to pick up the phone and call a booking coordinator to say, hey, I want to give you my credit card and book this. They want to be able to do it online. And they want to do it at, 10 o'clock when their kid goes to bed. So we've really simplified the process for a customer to be able to book with us. And then, just the system thereafter, right? Because we do have a lot of work that we do after someone books. So with our particular industry, we do not outsource anything to any other, company or other performers, right? So when you book an event with us, you know that you're booking a character that has been trained by us. They're having a costume and wig that is from us. And so we have a whole sequence of, we have to schedule that person. We have to make sure costumes are looking good and clean. And so we've built different processes to kind of automate a lot of these things, like in terms of scheduling, and then really being able to, implement other automations as well, right? So when a customer books, it's like we confirm them automatically with all of the details. We confirm that on our calendar automatically with all the details. So we've built a lot of really interesting processes to kind of streamline things. And it's not just for like cutting down payroll, right? Or eliminating stuff. It's really more like we have so many details that go into a single event. And as a human being, we're just bound to make errors sometimes. So this also kind of takes it a step further where we're able to be a bit more accurate with less mistakes.
Are you a digital marketer ready to take your strategies to the next level? Introducing Make.com, the platform that's transforming how AI-driven marketers, like listeners of the AI-powered marketing show, work smarter and achieve more. Listeners of the AI-powered marketing show are already leveraging Make.com to automate complex workflows, integrate favorite tools, and scale their strategies with ease. Imagine advanced automation handling repetitive tasks, freeing you to focus on innovation. With Make.com no-code tools and AI integrations, automating everything from lead nurturing to social media management is now as easy as clicking play on your favorite podcast. Hey, listeners of the AI-powered marketing show, are you ready to start your free trial with Make.com today and experience the power of AI-driven marketing automation? Click the link in the episode description and get started now.
Now, what platform are you using internally to do all your automation?
So right now it's a combo of stuff, but typically we're using Make.
Okay. Yeah, I use Make.
Yeah.
I love Make. I love the visual, how you can look at things visually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you. You're probably a charts and graphs person, aren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm a charts and graphs person. I like to see how things are going to work. And I started getting certified in Make last year, and it's a great platform. So
I do like I like Make a lot better than Zapier. I think it's a bit more cost effective as well.
yeah.
So I like we're running a lot. So, I would be spending a lot more on Zapier than I do on Make.
Now, is that
sure.
where you built your AI agent then?
Yeah, so my AI agent is on Make. And then we have a bunch of different automations. So like initially our booking system, what happens is like someone will come in to our website and they will want a custom quote. And so that was I was really struggling with doing something like that because we have a lot of different, this is not just like, oh, we're gonna, give you a quote and here's like our basic pricing. And there's a lot that actually goes into giving someone a quote because they have travel fees. So this one was actually a very intricate Make scenario because I had to integrate. Well, I mean, I feel like I designed it, but then I do work closely with a developer because there's just some things that are kind of beyond my
Yeah.
pay grade.
When you start getting into things like APIs and
I was going to tell you, we were integrating Google Maps API to calculate like travel fees for us.
Yeah.
And it's where I was like, okay, I'm stuck. Like, what am I going to do? Or my scenario keeps breaking. So, yeah, it was a little like, it was a little wonky, but it works really well now. And it gives like, it's amazing. Like the travel fees that are quoted are like actually perfect. And then it goes into, we have quite a long, process through Make in that particular scenario. But then it goes into, a ChatGPT module, and then it has like all the different pricing for all the different locations that we have and how it inserts like different information based on what character they're requesting because our characters do different things. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables, but we like got it working and it works really well.
All right. The big question is, how many scenarios do you have built in your Make account?
Oh God.
You don't have
like probably like 100.
Yeah.
Probably like 100. That's why I'm like, yeah, Zapier would make me go broke, I think.
Yeah. I was gonna say I use it. I use it to do a lot of content, automatic content publishing with images and stuff like that for my show. So it's just amazing some of the rabbit holes you can go down with Make. So anyway, we
If
could
you go look through the templates too, I mean, the templates, I'm like, oh, that's an amazing idea. I'm like, I could do this, I could do that.
did you get involved with the community too?
No, not really.
Yeah, because the community is a great place. Like you said, you found a developer. I found a developer in India that's working with me doing white label stuff. So there's a lot of like good connections you can make in there if you ever need something.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I have a problem or anything, I just hand it over to my developer because I'm like, I'm way too busy to like figure
Yeah,
out why
yeah,
this broke or what happened here.
yeah.
Ideally, I think ultimately, because I've been really interested in like vibe coding now too, and that's a whole different like rabbit hole to go down. But when I got introduced to Claude, I was like, my gosh, this is insane. But I think ultimately at some point in the future, because like everything I have right now is on Make, but I would like to put together, my own like custom coded like CRM, but it'd be like a CRM slash like operations at the same time where I could like do the functions of scheduling and not just like the lead component until like the lead closes, and make it like tailored to our industry. But like for right now, like Make is amazing. And I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
really to learn like how to do an AI agent or, different sorts of automations and stuff. Super, super user friendly. Like highly recommend that.
And for me, all my clients are small businesses, so it works perfect for them because of the pricing structure and the pricing model. Because I was on Zapier for years, and I switched for that very reason because I was starting to, it was starting to price out as effective for me. So
Bro-
you're also testing. You talked about a scheduling app as well.
Yeah, so scheduling, so we're still doing scheduling inside of Make, but one of my developers, so part of it is in Make and then part of it is like custom coded with well, I have two developers right now. So one kind of works on like my Twilio stuff and he created with Google Apps Script. He made it so that we can confirm all of our performers on our like Google Calendar every week. So he's the one that set that one up. I didn't do that, and that's not through me. But the other scheduling that we do is we, for example, have like a Google Sheet with our performers. And based on different components of like what is required for them to be scheduled, it will go through the process of, you know, taking the booking that came in and then being able to assign a particular performer at a particular location to the event.
Yeah. If I could recommend something to you, check out JotForm. JotForm will allow you to make out forms, agents, and CRMs. And you're talking about a CRM, and I'm sure a developer can look into that for you. But I use JotForm a lot. It's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, since you've added all these new things, what's been the difference in your business in terms of time saved, efficiency, etc.?
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely been able to cut down on some payroll for sure. I feel like I've really eliminated a lot of just the monotonous work that, employees don't really want to do anyway. I think that a lot of employees would rather do a work that is a little bit more fulfilling and not just like monotonous, like, oh, I have to assign this and type this in here. It's boring for employees to have to, do those types of tasks. So I've actually been able to really condense some roles. And I think, I think people are a bit more happy in what they're doing because it's prior to this, there were a lot of, tabs open, a lot of just sort of chaos in the way that we would have to execute on one project or one customer. And right now it's a lot better. It's a lot more streamlined. A lot less mistakes, because now, for example, in travel fees that we're quoting, the Google API creates the cost and it's always accurate. There's nothing that is like subject to interpretation, if that makes sense, because,
Yeah.
the GPT or API is calculating what it is and it's always correct. So it's been amazing, honestly, even just for that, it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's and are you using ChatGPT as or are you hooked them with Claude? Because Claude's pretty accurate.
Both. I have both, but
That
I use Claude for playing around with vibe coding only. Yeah. I haven't really like fully built anything. I've just been playing around with it. But I think that my personal opinion is I think that Claude works a lot better for coding, and I think ChatGPT is better for all the other questions and things like that. But my AI agents are connected to ChatGPT
yeah.
module and make.
Yeah, the new Model 5 that came out is pretty good.
Yeah, I still Claude codes better.
Apps I couldn't Claude is absolutely hands down a better coder. I don't do a whole
Yeah.
lot of coding. Actually I just vibe coded a whole I created an app that I just launched Monday last week.
That's so cool. I mean, honestly, I think vibe coding is insane. Like I just love playing around on it for fun.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can do. What platforms have you played with so far?
Yeah, and I think there's really going to be so much opportunity for people if they do, decide to get into anything AI related. I mean, I would imagine like SaaS companies just like completely exploding with vibe coding.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just the sky's the limit.
so I built my app on Famous AI. I know
Okay, I heard of that.
if you've seen all the crazy commercials with like the raccoon that's running through downtown Baghdad, or
Oh, I think I have.
yeah, the little raccoon that's like he's trying to book a travel, he's trying to book a trip somewhere, and they book him in the center of a war zone. But that's the kind of like crazy commercials that they do. But I know Famous is the one I'm using, but Lovable's another one, and I just saw one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw another one today for vibe coding for SaaS, where you can create your whole software as a service company doing vibe coding.
Wow. I've heard about Lovable and I've heard Lovable's great. I think Lovable's for more beginners, like that don't know too much about like
Yeah,
basic coding.
yeah, I think they do a better job of onboarding people. Anyway,
Yeah,
we
probably.
could talk about vibe coding for hours. I'm sure. I wanted to go back. I had this was a kind of an important question. You've got a tiered pricing ladder that is basically set up to encourage your customers to upgrade without feeling pressure. How did you figure that model out? How does that work?
Well, I think that the way that we go about selling stuff, I feel like it kind of sells itself. We don't really have any like high pressure sales tactics to get people to book with us. So we try to make it affordable for pretty much everyone who is interested in the service to be able to purchase it and have, an experience. But as far as like getting people to upgrade, a lot of times we do that just by organically like helping them with information, whether they, text us or they call us and one of our agents answers. We do actually still have live people answering the phone, believe it or not, which I plan to do, I think, for quite some time. But, getting people to kind of understand what we do and what it entails, they kind of naturally just want to upgrade more time. I feel like when they, talk to us and learn about what we do and all the fun things that can happen at their event, if they have more time with us at the event.
So what kind of characters do you I know you have the princesses, but have you gotten into like the action figures and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we provide a wide variety of different types of characters. We have like princesses, superheroes, mascots. We have over like 50 different types of characters at every location. And then, even sometimes too, we do try to accommodate our customers' requests as well. So sometimes we'll have customers that come in and they want something customized. It could be their own like mascot that they have, or even like holiday characters, Halloween characters, stuff like that. So really I try not to say no. I always try to make a way to
Hmm.
accommodate a customer for sure.
Absolutely. So you have kind of an interesting like business model. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you got involved with that?
Yeah. So right now we're offering an opportunity where you can get involved and you can purchase your own party character company. And so essentially the way that we have that worked out is you can license Characters IO for your own territory and purchase a business opportunity with us and learn how to build and grow your own party character company, but at the same time get to utilize all the goodwill and everything of what we have done and learned, to do it yourself in your own area. So we do have a lot of areas open and available. This is something we just started doing this year. Um, it's not franchising. You have a lot more control over your business. So you're able to, pick the characters that you want to book, the types of costumes that you want to purchase. You have a lot more liberty over, like your pricing, and the cost to entry is a lot less expensive. So it's a really fun opportunity, especially if you're a creative, you're, or maybe like a stay-at-home mom, because a lot of what, people that have signed up with us, they can, do this from their home. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool. That's like the ultimate small business. And that's what my show focuses on, is helping a small business person. So that's great.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody was starting out today with no budget like you did, but had a really good idea, what are the first two or three things that you would tell them to focus on?
So my opinion, when I went out and I'll just use me as an example. When I went out and I performed as Cinderella, I was not charging the most that I could charge, right? I was going out there and trying to prove myself and gain a following. So a lot of times I feel like at the beginning, you really have to be able to put in your time and effort, and your ego cannot be too big to say, no, I'm too good to go and do that. At the time I was only 19 years old, but I didn't feel embarrassed or shy to say, hey, I'm going to go out and dress up as Cinderella and make it happen and create a name for myself. And that's exactly what I did. Like, majority of where I came from is based on me going out there, creating a system, and then showing others how to do it themselves, right? But you can't just go out, especially if you're a young person or you don't have any money to start. You can't go out there and expect, like, oh, I'm just going to hire a bunch of people and we're just going to throw this, to the wall and I don't have to do anything. That is not any way I would ever recommend, especially if you're a young person and you have a great idea, or maybe you have a really great service that you want to give to people. I would say go out there, show people what you can do, be the most price competitive initially, right? Until you establish, your framework and who you are within the community. And then you can reassess over time, and increase your prices and become more exclusive. But I think initially, just really putting yourself out there and showing people and not being afraid and not feeling like you're too good to go out there and perform a service or do something yourself initially, I think is probably number one.
Cool. Very cool. Well, if somebody wants to find your company, what's the best way to reach out and learn more about your company?
Yeah, so you can go to our website. It's called characters.io. And then if you're interested in one of the business opportunities in your area, there is a link up at the top called Business Opportunity. Just go ahead and click on that. And then you can fill out one of the forms. And you can also reach me at Hayley at characters.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna put a link in the show notes so that if people are interested in that as well, and I'll send it out with the show so they can hook up with you. Thank you so much for being a guest today. You've been phenomenal, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.